The screen you see here is probably very familiar for all of you. It is where you log in, where your members log in as well. They're individual members. Um, they go over here on the left-hand side where it says individuals. You may notice the bar on the left-hand side all the way to the left. This is a bar that I see because I'm an administrator, and that just gives me a couple extra options to help you guys out if you have a question and you call us. Um, I think a good thing to always share with administrators is if you have an individual rower who is having a hard time finding their record, they don't have to call us right away if they forgot their member number. If an individual clicks on join, they go to the following page. Let me load that real quick. They see this. It says first name, last name, date of birth. It has these questions over here. Now, if they fill out most of this information, that allows the system to look them up. So just in case there is anybody who has a hard time finding their record, if they've used their email address with us before, if the last name and date of birth matches, it will show them, here's your previous record, this is the member number. And it makes the search for us or for them probably a lot quicker to get into the system. All the way at the bottom, it asks for the club or team name. I think many of you are familiar with that. It's where people need the club code. They first type in the name of your club, and then they will be prompted to fill out the 5-symbol club code. I see a little bell going up. Okay, allow that. Um, the best thing about the club code is that it allows people to access your team when your roster is locked, but more importantly, it keeps people out from affiliating themselves with your club in order to get an entry that they really may not be a part of. So as you may know, we require from people to be members of US Rowing to compete at an event, and if they're not championship members, then they need to be members of an organization that is a member, and they can just be basics. What we've noticed in the past was people would, try to sign up for an event by using a team name that wasn't really their team name, only to change it once the entry had been approved. Asking for a club code kind of avoids them getting on your roster. So only if you approve them, they can get there. We'll go back to this screen real quick. Under organizations, it says join and members. If you click on members, it prompts you for your Regatta Central account. Currently, unfortunately, only one account can be added for every team. It limits the number of people who can log in. If you're not looking to share that login information, we have recommended to people to sign up with a generic account. So to create, say the name of your team at gmail.com with a generic password so multiple people can log in at once. However, we've heard your feedback, and we are working on allowing multiple people to be logged into one and the same account at any time, so that if there are things that you want to look at together or multiple coaches are working on the roster, they can do that without being locked out because there's only one account that can be connected as of right now. Once you've logged in, the screen tends to look like this. You see a couple more people here, a couple more things here at the top that I only see because I'm an administrator, but you see this membership tile over here. It will show the name of your team, the organizational number, which is not your club code. It's just an organizational number that's in our database for us to look at, to look up who you are. There's a primary contact, and then there's the contact email. Many of you only manage the information in the account when the membership has expired. That's currently on New Year's Eve. What people do is they will go and they'll log in and they click on renew, and it just takes you through all that information. Now, if something changes at your team, you want to add more contacts, your address changes, you have a new treasurer, you have a new primary contact who needs to get your receipts, you can do that. You just click on manage instead of renew, and you can just fill out the new information. At the end, you submit, it goes straight through. So if, for example, our emails, our notifications are going to the wrong person or to someone who's no longer with your crew, we really urge you to go to this page to manage who your main contact is, because I even see this right now early in the season. We're sending out invitations for something like this virtual session, and a lot of the emails will come back and say, "Hey, I'm actually no longer the person at the team. Could you please email it to this and this person?" Well, there's no way for us to know that if clubs don't share that. So we'd love to, have clubs go in and manage this all the time if they can. Um, More importantly, if you go to renew, we added a big change this year where we made the Tier 6 membership a lot cheaper. We took about 35% off the price. With the Tier 6 membership, you get all the coverage that you get from Tier 1 through Tier 5, except the big difference is everyone is required to be an individual championship member of US Rowing. There are a couple benefits to that. For example, if your club is already sending most of its rowers or all of its rowers to a regional championship, like a Masters regionals or a youth regional, or trying to qualify for youth nationals, then the majority of your rowers may already be championship members, and you're actually saving money by switching to Tier 6, even if you are paying for the few people who are basics at this time. Um, in addition, for a lot of teams, it's either break even or they would pay a little bit more between the cost of the individual memberships and the cost of the Tier 6 or the Tier 1 through 5. But the individual members get a lot more out of it. As you may know, the championship members of US Rowing, they get the complimentary subscription to Rowing Magazine. They get access to these pro deals with discount websites that we work with, but most importantly, they get more insurance. And the big difference is that a basic member is covered for all liability issues when they come to your team, when they're part of your practice, when they're going to a competition with your team. However, what is different with the individual championship membership over basic is that you get, in addition, a $25,000 excess accident medical coverage, which means that if you get injured in a rowing related incident, and that could even be on the way to a practice, there is $25,000 available to cover any cost that may not be covered by your insurance company. And then also, I think quite important is that this follows you wherever you row. So if you are part of a team, but you also have a single or a double that you like to take somewhere with friends, or for once you're not rowing with the team at a regatta, you are eligible to row as unaffiliated at that event, and you have the exact same insurance coverage. And in addition, if you are taking out your boat, say from a local dock, just to row for a little bit, and it's not anything club mandated, it's not anything that has any club relation in terms of being an organized practice, you still get that same coverage. Um, and I think that's really a big benefit to your members, that they may be missing out on. And with the cost of the Tier 6 being $625 right now, there's obviously room for clubs to either help the members out with paying for it, or to simply say, well, the cost of the membership has gone up a little bit, but you get way more out of it. In addition, as you may know, there are a lot of rowers who get the championship membership anyway because they are going to one of these events. So there's really a chance here to give more to your members, for them to get more out of being members of US Rowing, while the cost is potentially lower or simply just the same, but you have a little bit more flexibility. Like, you don't have to think about the tier number. Like, Tier 6 allows as many people as you want as long as they're champ members. So there's a flexibility added that may be missing if you are close to being at the top of your tier, to give you an example there. Um, Now, what is obviously important, whether you are a Tier 6 team or not, is if you look at your roster, it's always good to know whether people are members or not. This is obviously a test account where the people in here are either, well, myself, or they're not real. Um, and what it shows you is where people are at with their membership. So if you log in, and you may be familiar with this already, is it shows you the member number, it shows you someone's last name and first name. If they've signed their waiver, this will be a green check mark on this account for me. There is no green check mark yet, which means I need to log in and do that waiver. It shows my membership in black lettering if it's currently active, and then the expiration date as well. And it also shows the age of the rower on December 31st of this year, which is what we consider your rowing age. So when you see a U19 category, U19 is determined by someone's age, by your rowing age, and that's what's shown here. Now, if someone's membership has expired, that should be visible here. It shows the type of membership they had and when it expired, but it will be in red and have this strike through. And quite importantly, we want people to be on top of this. The rule is that for someone to be enrolled in the insurance that you pay for, if you're a tier 1 through tier 5 team, they have to be at least basic members of US Rowing. And we need their expiration. Obviously, the expiration needs to be in the year, but they need to have the waiver signed as well. And they need to be active at the same time. So if someone has signed up for a basic membership, and the membership expires in May, they go in January, they sign their waiver, then they're good to go through May. But once May comes around, they will need to renew the basic membership. Just having the waiver is not enough. Like, they need to have both at the same time. Say you have new people come in and they are not in your system yet, and you want to add them with their basic information, or you want to add them so you can process and pay for their memberships. You can do that by clicking on Add an Athlete. If you may not know whether they rowed before or had a type of membership with us before, it'll first prompt you to fill in a last name and a date of birth. Let me see if I can just, find myself in this case. It says search an athlete. Well, here you go. I popped up. It said already on your roster. Now, imagine I'm not on the roster yet. Then you can click on a button that allows you to add someone. If in this case, the people who show up are not actually the people that you are looking for, you can click on new athlete. And all you have to do for them to appear on your roster and be eligible for you to pay for their membership is to fill out their first name, last name, date of birth, gender, and a valid email address. The email address is quite crucial because this is where the link will go that will allow people to receive the notification that someone has taken care of their membership. So, for example, you go to process memberships, which I will show you in a second, and it will show someone who may be eligible to be renewed. Once you have paid for this renewal, they will get an email that says, hey, your club has taken care of your membership. Please go here to sign your waiver, and it will give them this login automatically. However, it will only go to them if the email address is correct or if there is an email address in the first place. So to show you what that looks like, if in this case you go to process memberships, you choose the type of membership you want to take care of. You go basic, and it'll show you people who are eligible to be renewed. So in this case, and I want to show this here real quick, this is just a test person. You can click here. There is a valid email address. You can click on pay, and it will take you to the checkout for this person. Now, if you select multiple people, it will just show you what the fee will be, and it will show you a list of the people that you are paying for. For the basic memberships, this just allows you to take care of all the new people who are on your roster. There is an additional option. I'm not sure why this is processing, so let me go back and log in again. If you go to process memberships and you want to take care of championship membership for people, for example, because you switched to tier 6, but you've decided to pay for other people instead of having them take care of it themselves, you can do the same thing. It will show you everyone who's eligible to be renewed. As you can see here, I've selected one person. It tells me, well, the cost will be $45. One is selected, 0 are free. Select 5 more for an additional free membership. This is because we have a group deal. For every 6 people that you pay for, you can select the 7th person who will not be charged for their membership. So in this case, So in this case, this would mean that, you can get, if you have 14 people, you're only paying for 12. That's about a 15 percent discount. I see Paula's question. She asked, what is the advantage to US rowing if the club is a tier six? So what prompted this? There are a couple reasons why we did that. The first reason is um, we think it's a benefit to individual rowers to have a championship membership. It allows us to give them more benefits. There are a lot of people who need this already, and what we noticed was there were a lot of clubs who already had, who were paying for a tier four, a tier five membership, but say 80% of their rowers ended up championship members because these clubs aim to go to club nationals, masters nationals, or youth nationals. With the insurance that's included in the championship membership, we were really charging them twice, because they were paying for all these people to be covered. And that is a requirement for how that system is set up. But these people, in addition, um, all these individuals were paying for their own insurance. With Tier 6, it allows more people to join as championship members while giving a benefit to the team, where they don't have to worry about people being eligible to go to championships because everyone is eligible. They know that their rowers have even better coverage. They have a personal coverage that cannot be provided by the club. So really, the big benefit, if you look at that part, is people were already paying for a service that the club was then charged for again, because there wasn't really a way for people to know how many people were going to be basics or championship members, depending on how the races might go for the season. And we think with a tier six, we can incentivize people to get the top level individual membership while giving a discount to the club. What it also does is it creates a better step for teams that are new. If you are a small team, tier one, which is about 1,300, I think it's $1,375. The tier one membership covers up to 20 rowers. Now, if you are a new team, there is a discounted deal available for you for the first year, but then the next step would be to immediately go to tier one, where you pay a fairly high fee for a relatively small team. And especially with smaller teams, we have noticed that there is, there's some fluctuation in the number of people who come to your team, the number of people who may be interested in joining. And with the championship membership requirement for Tier 6, this really gives those teams the flexibility to pay a much smaller fee, like $625, to get the coverage they want. They ask for championship membership from the people who are sure that they're staying. And then, which is something I could, bring up now, if you are hosting a Learn to Row, even if it's over the span of a couple days, we've talked to the insurance company. It's fine if those people use a paper waiver. So instead of having to think about how many people are coming to my Learn to Row, um, what kind of membership am I looking at in the spring or in the fall? With Tier 6, there are no limitations to the number of people that are at your team at one point. You pay a single low fee, and then if 5 people are at your club in the spring, but 25 people come to your club after the fall, you simply know, all right, they have to be championship members, but there's nothing else I need to worry about. And here are the benefits for them, say, if they're looking to go to Masters Nationals. So we think the advantage is that um, for a similar fee to us, and for a similar cost, we can offer more to both the clubs and the members, while creating a better step for the new teams who have joined us and giving them flexibility. So it's really a change that we made based on feedback from especially smaller teams, but also the teams who already had a vast majority of their members become championship members. So I hope that, I hope that answers your question. So we think it's really something that's based on, being able to help people out. Like, a lot of people got back to us about this and said, "Hey, I know that my members are already covered because they pay you for it. Is there a way to make that easier for us?" And we said, "All right, if you make everyone a championship member at your club, then indeed they've all paid for that coverage. We're not going to charge you twice for it." So that's where Tier 6 came into play. It existed in the past, but it was more expensive, and we felt like lowering the fee made it a little more fair, especially towards the smaller teams who, like we're trying to grow rowing, and getting new clubs around the country is an important part of that. So it's really something that we kind of got there based on feedback from people at convention, and who we talked to. Um, as far as the roster goes, there was one more thing I wanted to show you. Say your club is not worried about people ending up on the roster, and you have a lot of issues with people not getting the club code or struggling to add themselves. If you go to your roster and you go to the settings tab, that's all the way on the far end here on the right. The only setting you can currently change is whether or not you require a club code. In this case, it's standard set to club code required. Now, if your club says, we really don't care, anyone can be on the roster, we'll take care of it ourselves, we'll delete people we don't know, you can click on Open Access. And it says you've successfully updated, well, in this case, US Row Test is the name of the team, but you've successfully updated your roster mode, which for your team means that your kids or your masters no longer have to fill out that club code. They just look up the name of the team, they click on it, and that will automatically add them to your roster. It makes it a little easier, but as I said, you have the risk of people trying to, sneak on your roster for an entry. It's unlikely, but that's why the club code is there. In terms of having the archive function, there isn't anyone in our archive, but it's a way for you to keep the information of a rower who may temporarily not be at your team anymore, or who may permanently not be at your team anymore, but who you'd like to stay in touch with, or whose information you would like to keep. So getting this archive kind of completed is a way for you to see who was on your team, when they were in entries, if you connected with Regatta Central. In terms of the active, you can always move them back. If you want to move people around, you select those people, say 2 of them, and you can go to Archive Selected. Or if you are unaware of who someone is, or you simply don't want to keep them on your roster anymore, you can select those people and then click on Delete Selected, which will, it will remove them from your roster. You can always add them back by clicking on Add an Athlete, looking up their last name, their member number, or their date of birth. You can always find these people again, and add them in case you make a mistake or someone returns to your team after a few seasons. You say waiver is on the calendar year, but membership is not. That is correct. It's something that we are, we've worked on trying to change that. We're in conversations to have that changed. As of right now, the waiver is on the calendar year because that's a requirement from the insurance company. They think of, the waiver as an agreement for that calendar year for an annual, it's an annual agreement, but it's strictly within a date range. And so they want you to re-sign it when the new year starts. We realize that's not perfect. In the past, the basic membership was also on the calendar year when there was no fee involved. The reason it no longer is on the calendar year but runs 365 days is because we did not want to be charging, especially new members, twice. For example, with the administrative fee, if someone signs up in August or September because they join you for fall season, and we then let their membership and waiver expire in December, they would be charged again for the membership within 5 months. That seemed unfair, which is why we said, as long as you have a valid membership, signing the waiver can be done, which means, you're a basic member, you join in August, your waiver is good through December, and then in January you sign the waiver again, and your waiver and membership are valid through August. The waiver stays valid until December. The membership has to be renewed in August. I realize that might be slightly confusing. Again, that's something that we are looking to change, so we definitely hear your feedback on this. We think it's important to have that change. It's just something that we're still talking about to the insurance company because it requires them to change some of the legal language that's in the waiver and kind of what their expectations are. So it's more likely that the waiver and the membership both no longer will be on the calendar year in the near future, than for us to go back to the membership being on the calendar year, simply because we don't want to be charging people twice within a year for the same service. Um, the first part of the question, yes, people do automatically get the magazine, whether someone signs up on their own or you sign them up through the group process. They become full members of US Rowing. How the process really works is you add their name, their date of birth, their gender, and their email address. If they are brand new members of US Rowing, they get the notification that in case someone that in this case someone's taken care of their membership. And when they click on the link to sign the waiver, it will also take them through creating their profile. So they fill out their address, they fill out their mailing address, and that is where we will be starting to ship the magazine for the 12 months. As far as college students whose address changes, they become full-fledged members, so they can use their member number, password, and email address to change any information if the information ends up changing in their, like for them or in their case. So they can log into their own account to go and change where they live, to change if their email address has, if they no longer have access to their email address because it's a college email address, then they can just click on it and then use their member number and password to log in and update that information. We share the information where the magazine goes pretty much every month. So if someone gives us a change of address, that should take care of that. In addition, and I will show you on the screen, so take a look with me at the roster here. If you have entered someone in your system, you have the rights to change some of the information in their record. And how that works is, in my case, I can click on, say, my own member number here. It should pull up all this information about, who I am. It will show phone numbers, it will show an address, things like that. However, at the top, there is also the edit button. And so what that means is that for a lot of your athletes, if you know that they had an address change or an email change, you can simply click on the member number, you get this pop-up, you click on edit, and you can change it. And then in the end, you click on save athlete edits, and it will automatically update that in our database. So to give you, the quick answer, yes, if you sign up championship members through the group process, they get the magazine. And if an address changes, then you can either change that for them, or you can have them change it in their profile. We will, hopefully in the next few weeks, we'll be adding a new portal to register your regattas. So if you are a club administrator who hosts events, you will have the option to log into this same system. And instead of it just saying manage or renew or roster, it will also say regattas. And there will be a lot more interactive stuff, including, adding your referee getting automatic updates, and other additional information that wasn't available before, that we're working on. You may have noticed if you're registering an event right now, we're asking you to use a PDF. That's going to change very soon. And so we're very excited to do that. And once that comes around and we have that system live, we will be doing some virtual sessions to talk people through those as well. These were the main things I wanted to show you guys, how to update your athletes, how to add an athlete, how to work with the process membership section of the roster, what to do to log in, why Tier 6 is, maybe a good option for your team. If you have additional questions, or if you have, maybe a very specific question to your team, send me an email. I look forward to hearing from you and helping you out. Also, in addition, if you have a subject that you would like us to do a virtual session about, send them to us because it's an opportunity for us to maybe put together a presentation to show you a little bit more that we haven't shown before, and we really appreciate the feedback and the ideas. So that's it for today. Thank you. Again, additional questions, please email me. I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you for joining us. I hope it was very helpful.